never gives up. He'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe will dare. G.I. Joe.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Knowing Is Half the Podcast, the G.I. Joe cartoon show recap show. Can I put the word show in there enough times?
Please.
Absolutely. My name is Ray Stakanis, and I am here with Robert Chan.
Hi.
And I am here with Gina Ippolito.
Hi.
And I think I even said that right.
You did.
Oh my God, I nailed it.
It's perfect.
Finally. 4 episodes in, finally got it right. Today we're talking about, oh my gosh, classic G.I. Joe cartoons. 1985 to 1986, a show that changed my life. Only 85 episodes, but still great. And we're here talking about episode 4 of the Pyramid of Darkness.
Colon.
Oh, is there more?
Chaos in
so
the
much
Sea
more.
of Lost Souls. Colon. Chaos in the Sea of
Without
Lost
the colon
Souls.
just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's a pyramid of darkness without a colon?
The Pyramid of Darkness. Now, there's got to be some great science behind the Pyramid of Darkness and why it works. I mean, even as an evil plan, I always thought it was strange that it only enveloped half the world, which just shows you.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it
bottom
was-
of South America is poking right out of
Right.
there.
Oh, I thought it was because those countries didn't have technology in 1985.
They didn't. If you're living in Australia, we don't care.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
They're. It's not like their radios are going to stop working.
You should care. Later in the episode, you find it's the Australians that Deep Six the whole thing.
Oh,
you go.
Sorry, Deep
spoiler
Six is the
alert.
name of G.I. Joe, isn't it?
No, but it's the Dreadnoughts. Buzzer,
Dreadnoughts.
Torch, and Ripper.
Dreadnoughts.
The whole episode opens here with a recap of what led us to this point. This is an absolutely bonkers, go nuts, crazy shit episode. And I'm happy for it.
I thought the series would start out slow and then go to Crazy Town.
No.
Because like the first one that we just like watched in the living room was the one where they travel back in time.
That's right.
To ancient Greece. I'm like, okay, well this is like season 3. We're fine. Start at season 1. They'll be like, like doing normal military maneuvers, and then
No, have you never seen an 80s cartoon?
I'm familiar with 80s
They
cartoons.
jumped the shark right. They've jumped the shark long before they even air anything.
The first episode is just,
Yeah.
So-
the precursor is all jumping the shark.
So leading us into here, the recap of 30 seconds that leads us into the episode. The Fatal Fluffies have taken over Space Station Delta.
What?
Of course they have, with Zartan and the Dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
And that led to us creating a thing called the Pyramid of Darkness.
I'm
which
already lost.
eliminates all electricity for roughly one half of the world. The important half.
Yep.
As we've already established. Meanwhile, Shipwreck has met a lounge singer named Satin who doesn't like Cobra. They're about to place the third cube when our heroes Bazooka and his erstwhile companion Alpine have been trapped in the Antarctic Circle being attacked by Leopard Seals.
good
Yeah.
God.
I was pretty bummed about the leopard seals thing. I feel like it was encouraging people to beat up leopard seals.
Well, they're very dangerous.
Yeah, but like they're not evil. They're just they're not trained by Cobra seals, right?
No, these are naturally occurring. Now,
Right.
Are Leopard Seals real?
Leopard seals are a real
Yeah,
thing.
They're a real thing.
They're
They are
real.
not murderous.
That's what I'm saying.
If two guys with guns can't handle
yeah,
leopard
that's what
seals,
that's what I
they
was
don't
saying.
they don't deserve to be a G.I. Joe.
There's a gun and a missile launcher.
Yeah.
Instead, let's just shove it into the ice.
Let's rock the ice floe so that they fall into the water.
Yeah.
Their natural habitat.
Now, and I looked this up, and why do they pick leopard seals? Well, because I'll tell you, in 1985, there was a leopard seal attack on an actual explorer. Leopard seals came up out of the water and bit a guy in the leg and tried to drag him into the water, and his team had to kick at them with their boots and beat on them with sticks in order to save the explorer, whose name, of course, I didn't write down.
Is this
Whoa.
something that people knew about? Is this something that was like in the news and like it filtered down to the level where children could understand it? Like children knew about the Cold War, or they knew about nuclear holocaust.
Right.
Were leopard seals one of the things they were afraid of in the 80s? I do not recall that being the case.
I didn't even know they were a real thing until I looked it up an hour ago.
This is what this one episode is what led to all the leopard seal racism in America.
It's what yeah. After that, then it was all the cute baby harp seals and like don't club them, and then there was a backlash because of G.I. Joe.
Because of
Yeah.
G.I. Joe whooping on seals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our heroes are trapped on the ice floe.
And also, can I do like
Yes.
what? Like leopard seals in the pantheon of vicious animals. Way down the list.
Yeah.
Like there are way scarier things even in the Antarctic, for God's sakes, why not a polar bear?
I actually think that what they probably did was they probably brought up a dictionary and looked up animals that live in the Antarctic, and one guy was like, whoa, leopard seal sounds scary.
They just thought it was a combination of a leopard and a seal.
Yeah.
Like some
I don't
mythical
want
creature,
that.
like the front end is the tiger, and the back end is a...
So rather than actually like try to attack them, let's just capsize our own iceberg. That's the plan.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the Cobra guy called it out. It's like, how they're going to fall in the water.
Right.
What a bunch of assholes.
And then get eaten anyway.
Yeah.
Good plan, Joes.
Or freeze to death. I mean, there's a number of
There's so
problems
many
with
things
this-
that could go
with this
wrong with
plan.
that situation.
I don't think freezing to death is an option in the G.I. Joe universe.
No?
I have a feeling at some point someone's going to be like thrown out of an airlock in space and float out there for like an hour and a half and then just be pulled in and be like, ooh, I'm better.
There are a lot of exposed nipples in this subarctic temperature in this episode.
Well, then the absolute hero of the episode shows up to bail everybody out. Our pal Quick Kick.
Which, by the way, where did he... I mean, I understand that he's there shooting a candy bar, which sounds like the grossest candy bar ever, by the way. It's taffy.
Hold on.
Oh, my goodness. Do we have a sound drop, Chan?
And fudgies, what a treat. Lots of chocolate, really sweet. Full of taffy, raisin, and nuts. They'll melt in your mouth and turn to lead in your guts.
I want to know what the real last line of that song was. You're not going to put that in a commercial.
You don't
No,
think they're
you're
going to
not.
insult their own product right there?
No.
On the line?
But also, that's like taffy is delicious on its own.
Sure.
But if you put that in a
Yes.
chocolate bar and add raisins, you're going to be
And
chewing
nuts.
that for about an hour.
It's a frozen fudgy bar, so it's also intended to be eaten frozen.
Oh, there's
it's
a lot
an
of
ice
problems.
cream treat.
There's a lot of problems with this. No wonder the guy that was in charge of the commercial hightailed it out of there.
This
Also,
is bullshit.
has he not heard of a set? Like a studio
No.
set?
Absolutely
I
not.
feel like traveling to the Antarctica for a commercial could be done a lot cheaper with a bunch of fucking laundry detergent and a black box theater.
Also, what does he mean by he took my money and ran? Like, is Quick Kick the one funding the commercial?
They were all sharing a universal bag of money that he just threw in the car and just took off with.
Yeah.
He might have gotten paid in like stock for the frozen fudgy company, and was therefore felt like he needed to contribute as a producer. He probably got a producer credit on it as why.
Okay, that makes sense.
So my favorite part, though, of the whole thing, besides the fact that the frozen fudgy bars sound flatly disgusting, is the fact that they get underneath the hiss tank, and Bazooka immediately turns and says, "Do you got one?" And of course, Quick Kick
What
says,
the fuck is wrong with that guy?
And Quick Kick
I
says,
was wondering
"Yeah,
that too.
I've had him on me the whole time. Where was he keeping him? He's wearing ninja pants and nothing else."
I was trying to figure out if this character is supposed to be like slightly mentally challenged.
Bazooka is, at the risk of sounding rude, he's functionally retarded.
Developmentally disabled?
Thank you.
Or are you saying that it was head trauma that caused him to...
Yeah.
I think it's a little column A, a little column B.
I feel like you're not
Fair
allowed
enough.
to recruit people who are developmentally disabled into the military.
I feel he seems a little bit like the guy from Sling Blade.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
you could trust him to I don't know, go crazy on.
And remember, this is the guy they're putting in charge of their heaviest missile weapons.
Yeah, yeah.
The most destructive weapons the G.I. Joe team has. Let's give it to the disabled fellow.
He's trustworthy. I actually have a serious question. What Robert Redford film has an Asian dude roping in an iceberg?
I was going to look that up, and then I was like, I can't do this. There's no way.
I was also gonna look it up, and then I was like, I would kind of rather not know if it's a real thing or a fake thing.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not a real thing.
It's not a real thing. Maybe there's some obscure film out there where
You remember A River Runs Through It?
I believe
When
the
the
movie,
Asian guy ropes in the iceberg.
I believe the movie may have been called Last Jet to Killer Karate College. Which apparently was a movie that Quick Kick has done.
That's his big
did
thing. That's his bragging
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. It's listed
I mean-
on IMDb right up top there.
Right.
Known for.
Number one.
that movie is serious, because if you miss that last jet, you're never going to that college. There's not ever going to be another one.
I just want to know what kind of SAT scores you need to get into Killer Karate College.
Oh man.
So, and my final thought on this right here, unless you guys have more to add, is the fact that they, before they jump in the hiss tank, they fight the battle. They fight. Quick Kick fights Storm Shadow with the chocolate bars in his pants.
Right.
And pulls out ninja stars. Does
One
whatever
Ninja
he needs
Star
to do.
takes out
One
3 of Storm
takes out
Shadow's
three.
Ninja Stars. Fuck that.
'Cause that's
Storm
how good he
Shadow
is.
way better than that. He's not gonna group them together like that so they can be taken out by 1 star.
I have a theory that
Ninjutsu 101.
Storm Shadow lied his way into Cobra, and that he's not really the ninja master he claims to be, because he seems to get his butt kicked all the time.
Is it Terry Taylor under the mask?
It is. He's like, no, man, I'm a ninja. Do you know any ninjas? No. Here I am.
Why does Quick even have ninja stars on him? Why does he need... Why does a stunt man...
It was the 80s. That's also why you had a single nunchuck that took out 2 leopard seals.
That's right. I think that
because nunchucks were the ultimate weapon.
I think that this is the cartoonist being like, all Asians have this stuff on them at all times, right? Yeah, all right, let's give them some nunchucks, some ninja stars.
I assumed it was for the commercial. Like, he was just going to rope in an iceberg, eat the frozen fudgy bar, and then throw a ninja star at the camera, and then sing the song.
Right.
Makes sense.
But the crazy thing to me, though, is that they defeat Storm Shadow, they're walking away, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, crap. Let's just walk in this random direction when we have a conversation. And then the camera pulls back and reveals this massive battle that's happening right behind them with the cube. Like, they don't make mention of the entire time. And it's happening like 20 feet away from them down the snow. Like, no, hey man, so anyway, how's your day been? By the way, massive battle over a giant cube happening in the Antarctic Circle. I mean, not worth mentioning.
Honestly,
let's talk about candy bars.
Those lasers are about as lethal as somebody throwing a tennis ball at you real hard. So they're probably just like, whatevs. We'll deal with it later.
We got time.
They got fudgy bars to eat.
So moving on, because that's only like part 1 of like 10 parts of crazy balls of this episode.
That could have been a whole episode.
That could have been a whole episode, just that sequence. No, that's the first 30 seconds of the entire cartoon. We move on to the USS Flag, I believe, the aircraft carrier. And Tomek has been taken captured by the Joes. And they're treating him very, very nicely. They're on the deck of the ship talking, and he just turns and he says...
Wait, he's like a CEO.
Yes, he is a known corporate CEO of extensive enterprises, but they just can't pin it on him. They capture him roughly every other episode.
See, this is like real life. This is social commentary right here.
Yeah.
And this is right before the Wall Street crash in 1986. Now we know what happened.
Tomek and Zaymot.
It's because Tomek and Zaymot got arrested and pressed charges, and they decided to bring down the system.
Makes sense.
I will say that there's a whole other thing about why Tomek and Zaymot were my favorite G.I. Joe characters, like, of all time, and I still haven't quite figured out, like, I need more therapy to figure out specifically what the problem is. But I will say that the dudes are geniuses because they managed to dupe these, highly trained military operatives with what amounts to the clown flower gag. Yes, come look closely at my insignia. That's where the secrets are. What kind of asshole is going to then put his face into the insignia?
Every other person standing there, Chan.
Except for
Flint.
At the last second, wait a minute. I have seen this before in a Three Stooges cartoon. I will turn away.
But instead of killing him, it just shines a little flashlight into their eyes, and then he climbs.
And then he just decides to go into the worst direction ever.
Where did he go?
He could have jumped off the ship.
Yeah,
he could have done anything. He goes upwards in their line of view.
Right.
So immediately they start chasing after him.
And then we discover that Lady Jaye not only can pilot a jetpack with great deftness,
fully functional.
She can also grab 2 live wires and weld them back together with the power of her mind, I'm guessing.
Oh, you just kind of squeeze them together and then they reform. That's simple science.
Is that not how live wires work?
I guess.
My question is, if they got these jetpacks lying around, why are they climbing after him? Why not just get in the jetpacks?
They did mention jet belts at some point. They were like, let's just use our break out the rocket belts. Like, what the fuck? Where were those? Why aren't you wearing them all the time?
They should wear them all the time, yeah.
It wasn't exactly bulky.
Yeah.
It was just like a regular belt that just, by the way, flying everywhere.
I would get to the point where I would not use my legs for anything after that.
No.
Like, whether or not you needed to, I would go to the grocery store with it. Eventually they would just atrophy, and in the world of G.I. Joe, it would just be really sad.
Just get 2 little wet noodles just flapping underneath you.
Yeah.
So they end up capturing Tomek back again.
At first I was confused because Tomek starts climbing, or like walking the wire to where? I don't know. Where was that wire attached to?
It was attached to a way.
Was it attached to off screen somewhere?
I assume there was like a waiting helicopter for him on the other side of that zip line.
And then, was it Roadblock or something? He was like, let's play catch.
Yes.
And then he twangs the string like a guitar. At first I was like, why didn't you just say let's play guitar? Because it doesn't make any sense. Catch.
Yeah.
But then he like falls, and then Flint catches him.
Yes.
Like he's friggin'
A
like
baby.
she's Stella or something like that.
And they were up there. I mean, this is quite a fall for him just to casually. He's like a baby.
He's a grown man wearing like half shoulder armor, whatever that thing was.
He's got to weigh at least 200 pounds at that point.
More than that.
What do you think? You guys built. You know.
Yeah. I'd say like 230, easy. And Flint just catches him and doesn't break his back.
Nothing.
Even if he were strong enough to catch, I mean, the physics. We've learned from like breakdowns of Superman films, like you can't do that. That's just not how inertia works.
And talking about physics, I don't know what the physics of twin technology is.
No, that's all accurate. It's all accurate.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Because I know people that are twins, and not once have I ever seen it where one of them gets treated roughly, so immediately the other one, no matter where they are on Earth, can pinpoint on the globe where they are located at.
Here's the thing. I think part of the reason why I loved them so much was because I was an only child, latchkey kid, spent a lot of time by myself. I'm like, wouldn't it be awesome if there were two of me? So A, I could play board games with one another, and two, so that I would know where I was at any given time, and then I could,
but only if you were treated roughly.
Only by treating Tomek roughly.
I feel like
giving away the
treating me
position.
roughly.
There's a very 50 Shades of Grey thing that's bound to happen. 50 Shades of Red? Is that what this is? Yeah,
50 Shades of
the
Crimson.
Scarlet Twins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Scarlet
The
Twins?
Crimson Twins.
Crimson Twins. 50 Shades of Crimson. Dunzo. Let's make that movie.
Well, I mean, you'd only need to do stuff to one of them, and the other one would be totally all about it.
Yeah.
Which would be weird if he's like at a board meeting at the time.
Yeah, he's
trying
just
to
coming all over the place.
I imagine scheduling is a huge deal between Tomek and Zaymot.
Yeah, they probably have windows mapped out of like, this is when you're allowed to come, this is when you're allowed to poop.
Yep. I imagine Extensive Enterprises, a lot of their money was made in like scheduling services, like your Outlooks and your calendar.
They have a gigantic building in the middle of New York City with a big EE on it, and on the very top floor is just their offices, which are just a naked room with just their two desks so they can stare at you at the same time.
Yeah.
So I have to imagine that they coincide their schedules probably as often as they can get.
Right, which was a lot harder back then, you guys. There was no Google calendars, there was
my goodness.
Apple Watch to
Gmail
keep it
calendars.
together.
Yeah.
Like each of them probably, I imagine they had twin secretaries that also knew where each other was so that they could schedule things properly.
Yeah, that's true.
They had their own Donna.
I just especially like the fact that when the twin that wasn't actually falling goes, I'm falling. It was like, oh, you didn't really have to say that. You could have just, who actually, when they're falling, says like, this is what is happening to me right now, in case anyone was curious.
I'm falling. I mean, although, as it turns out, like, he did that deliberately so that...
he's smarter than everyone.
Yeah,
Well, they're the smartest cookies in the room. I mean, later on they go on to take over the entire operation from nothing.
Right.
I mean, maybe that
Spoiler
was part
alert.
of it, too, in addition to the whole Holy Child thing. Like, I like the smart dudes, and Cobra Commander, he was an asshole.
He's the best.
And he got put over so many times in this thing.
He doesn't play his cards close to the vest. Like, you
No,
know
no.
that he's...
He's the least trusting man, but yet the most trusting man at the same time. You know? Yes, I'm going to double-cross you. We both know I'm going to double-cross you. You double-crossed me. I had no idea it was possible.
I feel like that may be one of the most psychologically realistic things in the entire show. Like, those kind of people that do that to you are shocked and appalled that you do something right back
He's
to them.
outraged every time it happens, and it happens twice an episode.
Like, how dare you cheat on me? Yes, I was just cheating on you with another girl last night. What does that matter? How does that factor into this in any way?
Well, that's going to take us to the next segment, which is maybe the craziest segment of the whole thing, and that's when Satin, in her armored car, I've seen
A brick-proof tour bus.
Right.
What the fuck?
Right.
just covered it with a big picture of her on the side, Satin and her dolls.
Where
And
were the
rest of
dolls?
it- yes.
Where were the dolls?
yeah, that's what I was wondering too. I like to imagine the G.I. Joes took their clothes and tied them up and put them in the back of a warehouse somewhere.
they're her employees, so it's not like...
Maybe you guys can help me with this section, because it seems like, at first I'm like, oh, they're in a Cobra base. Then I'm like, no, Cobra's taken over this entire town. It's a big city with skyscrapers in it, and they've created checkpoints around the city. There's no one anywhere, so apparently there's a curfew in order. There's some sort of martial law thing going on.
Right.
And Satin's giant metallic armored car of doom shows up at the checkpoint, And then the driver's just like, no, you're going to stop here. We're going to create new air conditioning for you. And she throws out of the car, jumps on the dude at the checkpoint, is just like, you listen to me, bub. I'm performing for Cobra Commander and Destro. Neither of them seems to be anywhere near the city whatsoever.
No, they're gone.
Destro's going to the Antarctic.
I actually was thinking that what was going to happen was that they were actually going to play an amazing song, and the soldiers were going to be like, "Oh, all right, you seem to check out. Go on in." Because originally I was thinking this doesn't seem like a plan that would work.
No,
but they decided to just sing a few bars and then get to the fight.
Is that seriously what you thought?
I mean,
hold on.
It's an '80s movie. It's an '80s cartoon. Yeah.
Da, da, da.
He knows how to play
saxophone.
Knows how to play saxophone. Did she say? She did say fucked, right?
It sounds like fucked.
I heard fucked when I was a kid.
I heard fucked when I just watched it, and then she said, "Or you'll get slapped," and I was like, "Oh, slapped and fucked don't rhyme."
I mean, it's a slant rhyme. See, you can make it work.
I heard slugged.
Lil Wayne can make it work.
Oh, slugged?
That's what I heard.
Oh, the second one was slugged?
Yeah, I think so.
I heard.
Oh.
Yeah,
it could be slapped. I mean, here's the deal. I'm probably wrong. But I heard slug. As a kid, though, the whole time, anytime this was on TV, I'd wait for this moment and I'd yell, "You'll get fucked!" Every time. Every time.
I wouldn't have known what that was when I was a kid.
Well, I knew what it was as a pejorative.
I didn't know until the 4th grade.
I don't think I was probably in high school for it.
Wow. And now you do sketch comedy. A lot of these things are coming together.
Welcome to Real Talk with Gina.
What could it be other than fucked, though?
I don't even know.
Now my question is, this is obviously a real composed song. This is something already in the repertoire. And in previous episodes, we've learned that she has a song called The Cobra That Got Away. And now she's got a song called Cobra Dance. Does she just have a whole litany of songs? Is just this the Cobra album?
Yeah, my thing is, like, how does she know how to fight?
Well, because
she's tough.
Do we know this?
Yeah, her dad was taken by Cobra, and so
right.
naturally she would then, like, you killed my brother, and now I've come to, I've been trained with Shaolin monks.
I guess pop singer is a weird cover story.
I bet you that they
this was supposed to be a spin-off
of Gem. Or they wanted it to be Gem, and they couldn't get the rights or whatever.
Yeah, because when she describes her backstory, I was like, oh, they were setting this up.
There's something there.
For a spin-off.
Yeah, she never came back, did she?
The one thing that I noticed during this scene was that the wolf is clearly a wolf that is walking on its hind legs.
The whole time.
And
Hey, you know what?
soldiers don't question it?
No, 100%. Like, if I saw that, I'd be like, well, this is an interesting show. Tell me more. Like, if friggin' Nicki Minaj came out with a fucking parrot, a dancing parrot, and a dancing wolf, yeah, 100% on board.
But none of them are like, hey, remember those good guys that were always fighting?
Right.
That one guy that has a parrot and a wolf?
The checklist for this checkpoint is we're looking for a pop singer who happens to have a sailor, a mute-masked black ninja guy, a wolf, and a parrot. These guys come out, and there's just, okay, this is the act, obviously.
Hold on. There's a mute-masked guy, yes, but he has blonde hair.
Okay, excuse me.
And some sweet moves.
And he's wearing like a woman's 80s fashion outfit with the hair. Mm-hmm. Again, he's just dancing. There's no instruments being played. Nope. There's no singing happening.
Mm-hmm.
Is this wolf, explain to me what the wolf's deal is. Is he super smart?
He's basically Snake Eyes is a warg. All right. If we're going to use Game of Thrones terms,
yes.
Like
you're speaking my lingo.
Yeah.
No, every single animal, if it exists in the G.I. Joe universe, is smarter than most characters on G.I. Joe.
Have you seen those fucking Russian seals that were trained to do color guard stuff?
Were they leopard seals?
I don't know. Now I have to go back and check. But it was like a couple of weeks ago. They were it was on the news when Russia did some sort of thing, and then they had these trained seals doing twirls and had fucking guns like rifles that you would use for. All right.
So what I'm hearing is possible.
Yes.
Plausible.
Yeah.
This entire sequence is plausible.
This is one of the few things that has actually. I would be like, I am not surprised to see that in real life.
I mean, they also could have just left the two animals on the truck until the fighting started, so that they wouldn't have to.
They wouldn't have been distracted by just a mute dude with a blonde wig.
To be fair, with
sax playing,
they needed to deal with every soldier. This is the plan. So Shipwreck hits the guy with the saxophone. Right. Snake Eyes, jams him. Satin punches him, and then the wolf and the parrot are getting yanked from the shoulders.
Yeah,
it started with the parrot. That was the weird thing.
I was unclear.
Take him out.
I get that the wolf could take him out. Parrot, not so much.
I was unclear what the parrot's purpose was.
He was nibbling. Have you ever been bit by? I don't go near birds anymore because one of my grandmother's friends had a parrot that was like. No, he had tiny little beak. Was bit on,
biting him right in the shoulder.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Holding him in place like a Vulcan nerve pinch.
And instead of just going punch, the guy was like, I'm going to just let this happen.
To be fair, he did have a wolf biting his other arm,
that
which I think is the real threat.
If you had just gone from watching the most amazing pop number live right in front of you to suddenly having a parrot and a wolf attack you, you might be stunned for a moment. I give this Cobra Trooper full credit for not immediately responding correctly.
I do. I want to see this scene remade with Miley Cyrus. Her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus, got killed by Cobra. Now she has some sweet ninja moves and tours with a really weird.
I figure it was more like Taylor Swift because she has all the songs about breakups and her boyfriends and stuff like that. All of Satin songs apparently are about how Cobra killed her dad.
It's all about Cobra.
If we ever discover that Taylor Swift is really some sort of ninja master who's been on an 18-year quest to kill the man who murdered someone, that would be the best thing ever.
Why isn't that the Gem movie? Why? How could they have missed? I don't understand how Hollywood works.
So they're going to escape right now, and so after they've done the musical number, just
I don't know how
crazy stuff happens.
I don't know if that's the right word, considering she has a tour bus that drops down enormous, a steel sheeting to make the thing bulletproof, and then an enormous brick wall battering ram.
Well, this is the part of the plan because they start going towards the wall and Shipwreck starts freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
This is the part of the plan he had the trouble with.
Right.
It wasn't the wolf on two legs parrot musical number and him playing the saxophone at a checkpoint with laser guns pointed at his head. It's, holy shit, this armored car made of pure steel can't crash through this brick wall.
I mean, it probably couldn't in real life, so he's
100%
being
could
logical.
not. That's not a thing.
Until the battering ram came out.
I mean, you battering ram doesn't just go through on the first try.
Even then, if you're on, say you're on the 165 here going east on Van Owen, and you're just driving along, and then all of a sudden, dude starts driving towards a brick wall. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the fucking Burbank IKEA, and then this huge battering ram pops out. You're still, even seeing the battering ram, you're still going to go, no, don't go into that wall. That's ridiculous.
I feel like they could have easily solved this logic problem by having the bricklayer there and going, oh, I should have used cement instead of just laying them on top of each other lightly.
Just a little comedy act from the 1930s as he's just gently pressing each brick on top.
Right.
Maybe it was just a giant wall of fruit carts. Just a guy sitting there like, oh no, my melon.
One more brick till retirement. Oh no, why?
One more brick till retirement and I can afford the money that my wife needs to cure her legs.
Cure her leg? Wait a minute, are her legs the disease here in the scenario?
She's been using the rocket pack too much.
Yeah, she was using the rocket pack too much and they've atrophied.
Fair enough, that checks out.
So this takes us to the next sequence, which I'm
that's my favorite thing in the whole episode in it.
Well, we've got, yes, it does, because now we have the aircraft carrier, and Flint's talking with the captain, and he says, we need to get here because the final cube is going down. The shit plan is about to happen.
I don't understand why it's a pyramid, and yet they need cubes to make it work.
That's simple geometry, Chan. I mean,
yeah, simple geometry says you have a bunch of fucking tiny pyramids to make one big pyramid. That's how that works.
Yeah. So they're going to the ship's graveyard ships of death. What was? I think it's the actual name of the episode, and I'm totally blanking on it again. Yes, thank you, Chan.
Chaos in the Sea of Lost Souls.
The Sea of Lost Souls.
The Bermuda Triangle. Because apparently somebody owns the rights to that.
Yeah, somebody copyrighted it.
Same guy owns Dreadnought, and he owns the Bermuda Triangle.
Mysterious area where ships disappear. What do we call it?
It's crazy because they're on this aircraft carrier going to the Sea of Lost Souls, and the captain tells Flint, he goes, hey, I can get you there in 2 hours. And Flint goes, no, that's not good enough. You get us there in 1 hour. And the captain goes, Fuck yeah. Somehow that's going to happen.
That's how time works.
Wait a minute. You can just push this to full? I've only ever gone half. I had no idea that was even an option.
I've never known aircraft carriers is to be particularly like fast or mobile.
Right.
Usually they just sit there. Like that's their whole job is to just sit there and be a plane island.
Yep.
No, 2 hours. No, make it 1. Yes.
I'm a chronic overestimator, so I did mean 1 hour. I just thought maybe we'd want a bathroom break and a meal, you know.
Promise low, deliver high. That's the captain's creed. It's written right above his desk, I'm sure. On stationery.
You know what? I think it's entirely possible they just jettisoned all of their cargo.
Oh,
planes, fuel, people, bunk beds, everything. Because as we see later, you can run an aircraft carrier with sails.
Yeah.
With motherfucking... Although apparently they didn't get rid of their cloth. So they just had a bunch of cloth
the
stores.
giant-
Jettisoned the planes and the fuel and the bunk beds.
That's getting ahead, but they took the cloth off the other dead ships.
Oh, is that where they came from?
It wasn't until I watched it the third time that I figured out where this giant swathe of cloth came from.
I actually thought that they were like they were tying different things together, but then when the sails actually went up, I was
my
like,
shirt. Here's my pants.
There's no stitches in the sail whatsoever.
I know.
It's just one gigantic piece of cloth.
I thought it was just lazy drawing. I thought the guy was like, I don't feel like putting in the stitches.
Whoa. Somebody affiliated with the show being lazy? What the hell are you talking about?
I will say this. I'm going to jump ahead to the part where Tomek and Zaymot they bust out of prison.
Yes.
And apparently Zaymot has a sonic screwdriver.
Yes.
Because it's just like, it's a watch and it goes beep and the lock goes ping.
Yep.
And then it's like beep and then bing, the chains get busted away.
Yeah.
So it is entirely possible that the Joes also have a similar technology to take all of that, let's say, 200-year-old muslin fabric and just go like zzz and make it like and come together as one big piece.
You're bearing the lead on the rescue of Tomek from the prison is the fact that he just happens to have starflies.
Right, and that's all it takes to distract trained soldiers.
Butterflies.
Oh, they're so pretty.
Houseflies in the bottom of this.
How stoned is that sailor? Look at the pretty butterflies.
I hope no other countries have seen this cartoon because then they know our greatest weakness.
Butterflies that turn into knockout gas.
Yeah, I feel like North Korea is watching that episode right now and going, "Oh, we need our butterflies, eh?"
I feel like North Korea probably would have taken over South Korea if it hadn't been working on its butterfly technology since 1985. So that's a good thing.
And in the magic of G.I. Joe, this is just a throwaway moment. Hey, we need to distract the guards. I don't know. Rainbow-colored, explosively poison-gassed butterflies.
Sure.
And never mention again. Nobody. Right. And when Zaymot pulls him out, none of his guys are just like, "That's weird."
To be fair to the Red Shirt Joes, there is really nothing in their behavior that would have helped them in that situation. There's no way they could have been professional about it and like, "Oh, there are glowing butterflies. Let's do some sort of maneuvers to get away from them." They're going to get knocked out regardless.
That's true. But they could have at least not been so delighted by them.
I mean, just take life one day at a time, Gina. Just enjoy. Stop and smell the starflies.
I'll try, but I'll probably get knocked out. You guys skipped over my favorite part of the episode, which is AKA Robotopus.
Yeah, I got that too.
So there's an underwater battle happening between Lady Jaye and Destro. He's doing the final computations on the cube, and I don't even understand like what he's even doing at the cube because it's supposed to be in an exactly precise position, but he's not moving the cube. He's just pressing some buttons on the side panel.
Yeah.
And when Lady Jaye comes to stop him, he pulls out.
Yeah, he's trying to get his AOL Instant Messenger working so he can send his friend a message going, "Almost there."
LOL, winky face.
AFK? No. What am I? ASL. That's what I'm.
Oh yeah.
ASL.
And go ahead, Gina. The Robotopus.
And of course the way to defeat a lady G.I. Joe is by throwing something at her that has the word puss in it. So that it reminds everyone watching, yeah, she's a G.I. Joe, but she's also got a pussy.
I assumed it was just like a creepy, handsy kind of thing. Like if Destro were to engage her in hand-to-hand combat, it would be like stabbing her with a knife. He'd be like, "Let me grope you, baby."
Right.
I have to ask the question: is this sequence what led us to tentacle porn?
Probably.
Previous to 1985, I mean, not that I've researched it, but I can't understand how much potentially tentacle porn there'd be out there.
Yeah. There was one guy that watched this episode of G.I. Joe and started jerking off furiously at this sequence. And then as he squirted everywhere, he goes, I think I'm onto something.
It worked for me.
I will say this, because I actually have done a little bit of research in that direction.
Oh, of course you have, Chad.
Women getting fucked by octopi
Yes.
is actually an old trope in Japanese art.
Really?
Going back hundreds of years.
Interesting.
Like getting fucked by, is like a totally normal thing. So it's a tradition.
Oh. Well, who are we to mess with tradition?
Wow, who am I to judge another culture?
Robopuss is traditional Japanese.
Sir Robotopus, thank you.
Robopuss is his unsuccessful little brother.
Robopus would be gross.
That's it's a vagina. It turns into, I don't know, it shoots out like laser beams or something. Robotopus was basically a beholder. Just a little eyeball, pops out a whole bunch of Dr. Octopus tentacles,
Right.
wraps around, and then does nothing, as near as I can tell.
It sinks her to the bottom of the ocean.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And of course, the one fatal flaw in the design of the Robotopus, unfortunately, is if you shoot a laser into his eye, he
I felt
immediately
like
retracts.
it wasn't
in a world
even-
full of nothing but hand lasers everywhere.
So now my question is Robotopus just chilling at the bottom of the Antarctic, like still to this day?
I think he's dead because remember, she throws it back at Destro.
Oh.
He fights it, and then inexplicably, while he's completely occupied by Robotopus, she throws a spear at him.
Right.
A javelin which explodes the Robotopus off of him.
Poor Robotopus.
So somewhere,
Yeah.
if we were to travel to the Sea of Lost Souls, we
would
could find
find-
the Terminator remains.
We hardly knew ye.
Oh, poor Robotopus.
I was looking forward to his spin-off where he moves in with a cousin who is quickly annoyed by his crazy foreign antics.
I come here today not to bury Robotopus, but to celebrate him.
Perfect Robotopie? Is that...
Yep.
Okay. Standing tall on the weight of my arms of my dream. All right. Nope. Edit that out.
Almost worked, Han. Almost worked. So the final cube gets up and going. So now all of a sudden we've got all 4 cubes on the 4 corners of the Earth. The Pyramid of Darkness is complete, and darkness has taken over all of North America.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we get scenes of all the different places where, like, we get Big Ben in London, where all the cars stop. And my favorite part of that little montage is the Russians are having a parade of arms.
Yeah.
Why were they not helping? This affects them too. They're not only not helping G.I. Joe stop the Pyramid of Darkness, they're like balls out on display with all their combined arms in a parade.
This was the 80s, and that was what we knew about Russia.
That was like Tuesdays.
It was just...
To be fair, the thing that I was talking about just a little while ago, I forget what it was, but there was a fucking Russian military parade.
Oh,
and it was for something small or like a holiday or something. It might have been Putin's birthday or something like that. I don't know. But like the Russians do have more like military arms marches than we do, I feel like.
I hope Putin is listening to this podcast right now and a single tear escapes from his eye when he goes, "My birthday is not small."
He's probably thinking, Roboto, what? Why do we not have Robotopus?
Put all the manpower of Russia for the next 15 years on inventing Robotopus.
The Robotopus and or Starflies.
So, and the Cobra, however, they came prepared. They came ready to go with this because Baroness and Destro, realizing they were not going to get their ship out of harbor because the Pyramid of Darkness is going up, so they brought with them a Viking-style ship with a Cobra head at the front of it and a complete team of oars.
Can I also say, like, what the fuck? Why was Zaymot so worried about getting trapped in the thing?
That's what I was
they
wondering.
were already trapped too.
Well, I was wondering, like, oh, this is a terrible plan to have the twins just trapped in there when it goes up, because I was thinking, like, it would make sense if once it's up it melts everyone's flesh off and they die,
right?
But this is just, you can walk 10 feet into the place where it's not hitting.
Yeah, because the cube is where it starts.
Right.
You get on the other side of the cube where you were at,
right, and then they're coming for their revenge. It seems like a poorly thought out
Sure,
plot.
you could put a fully functioning ship on the light side, or you could get 2 rubber rafts led by sharks. which is exactly how they
I
get
wasn't
away.
sure if they were sharks or dolphins.
I saw sharks underneath. I thought that was like, oh no, they're in danger.
Oh no, they were friends.
Oh no!
Wow.
They
They
were
were
tied
buds.
to it because in a later shot you see the sharks with like harnesses strapped to them, pulling them away.
Which this lends credence to my belief that this is in the same universe as the Little Mermaid, because I believe that Ursula also has like her something that she refers to as like the lost souls. Like those little things that she takes that she like gives them favors to, the little, I don't know when the last time was that you guys saw Little Mermaid, but if you can harness the power of sharks to make them be your friends, and you have a land of lost souls, and you have a robotopus, I'm
Yeah.
going to say that this
I
is
do
in
remember
the
that
same
from,
land.
Next step, profit.
I remember a Robotopus from the Under the Sea number. He's in the back there, just like, and then the lights flash in his eyes and went down.
It just dies from the strobe.
You think they got a robotopus up on the side, man? Down here, we got everything.
We got Roboto crabs. We got Roboto sea urchins. We got Roboto mermaids.
But no living animals anymore, because this is year 3021.
All the seas are dead and full of dead souls.
Futuramaid.
Yep.
So we cut back to the aircraft carrier. Thank God they blew all their fuel getting there in double time. Getting there an hour, because now it doesn't run at all.
Yeah.
At which point, Flint has a very brilliant idea we've alluded to before. And there's just this amazing dialogue sequence that happens between him and Lady Jaye, where he says, and I have it written down here in quotes, "Men sailed the seas before electricity, Captain."
Oh, God,
At
as
which
soon as
point
that
Lady
happens.
Jaye says, "What do you mean, Flint?" And at which point I just want Flint to be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Wait, is this before or after the hang glider comment?
This is right after the hang glider.
Okay,
Because-
hold on.
Yes.
Because I wanted to take a moment to talk about
Oh, that
love
struck you,
in
Chan?
the world of G.I. Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was a weird moment earlier where Destro calls Cobra Commander my beloved whatever.
Yes.
Despot or whatever. I'm like, that's a weird word to use.
Yeah.
Like it seemed. And then.
Oh, he's mocking him completely right there. Destro is a complete shitheel, and he's being like extra shitheel. Just to be like, "Fuck you, Cobra Commander. I'm in charge."
Is that what it is? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because
Yeah.
he also uses the same sort of language towards the Baroness.
Yes, he
So
does.
it's a little weird that they kind of crossed over like that.
I don't think he can turn it off.
And
I think just once you flip the Destro switch.
I'm not being sarcastic. I just talk this way. It's a disease. But yeah, the Falcon Glider where he says, "I couldn't forget you if I tried."
Couldn't forget you if I tried.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've tried. Trust me, Lady
right,
Jaye.
right.
And oh no, go on.
There's the exposition part there too, where he goes, "Well, I forget exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of." Okay, we've established that they can shut down anything electronic, but this thing that I'm about to show you isn't electronic, which is why it still works.
Time to sell some Falcon gliders, which I also keep in the cockpit of my helicopter.
Right.
I just want to put
Just
this.
in
For
case.
just such an occasion.
Oh, Destromio, how get along?
Oh, Destromio, Destro and Romeo. It's a portmanteau.
That is correct.
How not gallant, gallant, because this is like pseudo French, and that's like romantic. It's a loving gesture.
There is no more loving anything in the G.I. Joe universe other than Baroness and Destro. That's the love I've always wanted in life.
They are going to town. Like they're
Oh, yeah.
like they're dry humping on the boat, and they're just like,
I would imagine they don't get much time for sex, so they have to fit in whatever they can when they can.
okay, well that makes sense. Yeah.
I wonder if they had to like fill out paperwork that said that they were in a relationship
yeah.
just in
Cobra
case.
HR is
For
the
HR,
worst.
yeah.
They have to be equal in station, because if one is like subservient to the other or has a higher position, they
Yeah.
might abuse that authority.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, let's just face it, though. In the 80s, I mean, there's a big glass ceiling going on. Baroness rose the
Yeah.
ranks. She's
That's
right
true.
there at the top.
And there's also in turn like there were no dating websites, so you're definitely gonna get it where you can.
Is there an episode where Cobra forms a dating service? I feel like there is.
Here's the deal. I can't speak off the top of my head, but it sure sounds plausible.
yeah. If there isn't, we'll need to write one, a G.I. Joe spec at the end of this.
Yeah.
So the final thought on this segment right here is they have to. The Crimson Twins are about to completely go against Cobra Commander and take over the operation for themselves. Nobody's weapons are working, nobody's guns are working, nobody's vehicles are working.
Guns aren't electronic.
How does their flare gun work?
Oh, I'm sorry, lasers.
Oh,
no,
Lasers. How does their flare gun work?
No, it's mechanical.
Is it
There we
purely
go.
mechanical?
Yeah.
Okay.
A flare gun doesn't have like it zooms.
There's no computer in there?
That was also the other thing that I was wondering about because Satin was still driving around after they put that
I
thing. I was
noticed
like, what the
that,
fuck?
but she was in the light section. It looked like
That's what I think. I think
Yeah.
they were somewhere in South America.
It would make sense to put the Cobra base that you're going to like be holding people hostage in the place that isn't hit by the Pyramid of
Right,
Darkness.
right.
Otherwise, that's a
Right.
terrible plan.
Yeah.
Why doesn't won't eventually everybody just move to the tip of South America? And
How
South
would they get there,
That would
Chan?
be
Would they just
terrible.
walk there?
Yeah.
Do you think that they
Oh,
sailed ships before?
Exactly.
What do you mean, Gina?
before?
They had things
I'm not
before.
sure. I'm not sure of the
cars.
science. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm just a girl.
They're called feet.
I don't know.
So this takes us to, we cut back to Shipwreck, Snake Eyes, and Satin. And this is a nice little exposition scene we have. This is the dramatic moment where Satin says, "This, I got you as far as I can take you. I gotta be gone now. I gotta go off into
I gotta
the
go
night.
to my spin-off.
I gotta go hit Gem." So now we find out Satin's backstory. Now we've known about Satin for a few episodes now. We're like, what's up with this chick? Why does she hate Cobra? And this comes back to she starts to take off and drive away down the freeway, and Shipwreck is running after her. And apparently she's going about 45 miles an hour, and Shipwreck is just keeping pace along the side of the car at the entire minute and a half of her exposition of her story, because the reason she hates Cobra, guys, is because Cobra framed her father for crimes he didn't commit, and he just never got over it.
Holy shit, is it George Peppard from the A-Team? Is that her dad?
Well, my question is that she didn't say anything about he got thrown in jail for life.
Right.
It's just he never got over it.
Yeah.
The betrayal.
He was pretty bummed.
It was just he just kind of got despondent after Cobra let him down.
Oh, look, it's Mr. Johnson. He embezzled. Guys.
But also, this doesn't seem like Cobra's MO. These guys, like, they murder people. They take towns hostage. They build giant temples with snake heads. And
Yeah.
also, Satin's father, apparently, they frame him for a crime he didn't commit.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, what was the crime?
I feel like they have side projects. They just don't focus the show on that. You know, like they've got a lot of hands and a lot of pies.
Man. The Cobra side project show.
Yeah.
The little
They're
Cobras.
they're just slightly like it's like how you rise through the ranks as you prove yourself in these lesser things.
I
It's
feel
like a
like
mafia
that's the
setup.
operation that Major Blood signed off on, right? It's nobody that was smart. It's like Major Blood. And I'll also frame her father for crimes he didn't commit. That'll get him.
or it's the final in their training school where like you have to come to them with an evil plan, and one guy is like, I'm gonna make all the meat at a fast food restaurant taste bad, and then another guy is like, I'm gonna frame this little girl's father for crimes he didn't commit.
I feel like the reason why she was so vague about it, I'm pretty sure he got on Megan's Law list. Pretty sure it's like, yeah, they said that he diddled a little girl, and like I know it's not true because I was there at the time and all this, but then that begs the question, like maybe it was a crime he did commit, and she's just like unwilling to
Maybe
accept
this is-
that her dad is a sex offender.
Yeah, or maybe this is revenge. It just took them so many years to spin it off into the TV show Revenge.
Oh,
I picture
neither
like
of us watch Revenge, so we just made the noise. That's
Her father was framed for a crime he didn't commit.
What was the crime?
It's very complicated.
I picture like her father was like Ariel Castro and just kept a house full of like slave women, and then when it was hit the news and everything, she just couldn't handle it, so she's like, "Fucking Cobra,
Yeah,
Yep.
fucking,
Yep.
I am
she
angry."
invented it.
There's a
Yeah.
secret terrorist organization that's framing my dad for things he didn't do.
I mean, I
gonna go pose
I could write
naked
so
for-
many episodes just on this, like, because I feel like at some point her dad could reveal that he's like not her real dad, he's her adoptive dad, but like someone in Cobra is her real dad. That's like really high up.
It was Major Blood. That's why he had the operation.
There you go.
That totally makes sense.
There you go. I'm telling you, there's
I'm gonna-
a lot more to see of Satin.
I'm going to go ahead and give you a spoiler right now. I don't think any of that happens. I don't think any of that actually gets paid
85
off.
episodes. That had to be in one of them.
If we start writing letters to the creators now,
I'm picturing the writer's room for Pyramid of Darkness. And basically, well, we have this character, Satin, who's a pop star, who absolutely hates Cobra. Should we explain why? I mean, should we just take a moment somewhere and just give her any kind of a backstory.
Like we've got to save the cat, you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're like, well, we can't have her. She can't have been raped. This is a kid's show. So what else is there? Someone broke
Cobra
up with
Commander
her.
raped me. That is a dark G.I. Joe episode. It's a very special episode.
Very special episode.
In the bike shop, he raped her in the bike shop.
Show me on the Cobra Commander doll where Cobra Commander touched you. I do have one question about Satin, though. Is she actually, like, legit famous? Is she like Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift, or is she just some nightclub act?
Look at the
locally
size.
famous?
Look at the size of her van. It's not a bus. It's a van.
It's a van.
Yeah, so she's just like she's a struggling musician, I would say.
My point is the Cobra guys who pull them over at the checkpoint, they don't seem to know who she is necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think she's super famous.
To be fair, it is in South America, so you know
true.
they have
that's
different
true.
pop stars down there.
That's true.
Shusha.
It's all Giselle Bundchen and then nothing. So this takes us to we're getting near the end of the episode, guys. If you can believe it.
And it only took us an hour.
It's only a 22-minute episode, everybody. We cut back to Cobra Commander getting ready to give his message to the world. Because when you shut off power to all the important people in the world, a TV commercial is easily the way to convey your message right there.
And he's trying to figure. He's doing some early viral video stuff.
Yes.
He's trying to be like, should I do the what is
pose.
it?
Look away,
Dramatic
yeah.
gopher? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's
dramatic,
Dramatic
gopher.
chipmunk.
Dramatic
Chipmunk.
chipmunk. Yeah.
Should I start with my back to the camera and turn around? Or should it just be a close-up of my face?
Or should I dress up like a cat and play a keyboard? They'll be talking about this for years.
We find out that the internet is all just an offshoot of this one episode of G.I. Joe.
Straight up invented by Cobra.
Yeah.
And it makes sense if you think about
It
it.
does.
Yeah. I often think of DARPA as a kind of Cobra. Because they're just doing crazy shit. And sometimes it works out, and I'm sure there are some things that are just like, somebody at DARPA was probably trying to make starflies.
Oh, sure it
May still be trying.
This is the best way to waste people's time so they're not looking at the actual atrocities that are happening. It's called the internet.
Just look at the butterflies.
Oh my god, the internet is starflies.
Oh my god. This is the scene where Tomek's and Xamot's ultimate betrayal is revealed. The Dreadnoughts have taken over Space Station Delta. Zartan has been taking capture. And if you're going to plan,
Can we stop just a moment?
Oh,
and
sure.
Can somebody...
Oh.
Let's take a quick listen to this.
Gentlemen, the lovely flair we've been waiting for. It's our turn now.
What accent is that?
It's New Zealand, I believe.
No, it is not.
It's evil.
No.
It is
It's-
like 4 different accents,
How dare you?
none of which approach the southern hemisphere.
Well, they don't want to really offend any real people, so they invented their own.
I see.
Well, the Dreadnoughts are stolen from 1980s punk culture that was coming from England, so they had to have
I
kind of
see.
snooty accents.
a little bit of a Cockney accent.
A Cockney accent, except for the fact that all these characters were kind of from, like, they were mercenaries
Right.
who were pulled from, like, hot zones in the world, like South Africa.
So they've been traveling a lot. It just kind of, yeah.
the
It just
accent-
mixes up.
Yeah.
It just mixes up.
They get a piece here and there.
Right.
Okay. No. That checks out 100%. Let's
That
move
checks
on.
out.
I'm okay with
No
that.
reason to dwell on that plot point any further. Cobra Commander, of course, is very, very upset at this. His flowery language, though, in this scene, because in back-to-back lines, he says the words poppycock and then skullduggery in the next line. And I say to myself, that's why Cobra Commander is my hero.
It is pretty great.
And he begrudgingly goes along with the Crimson Twins' plan because they reminded him, yes, by the way, Cobra Commander, we bankrolled this entire operation, and now we have control of every single one of the stations. So here's the deal. You can either get on board or not.
Or GTFO.
That's
Right,
it.
right.
Hey, remember when you were in charge? We don't. If you think about it, he was basically doing their bidding the entire time, just without even knowing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did all the legwork.
Yeah, he was never the one in charge. They're like, here's a check,
Yeah.
and we'll just watch.
He's an idiot.
He is Cersei Lannister. As
Yeah.
we'll find out coming in this next season, like she's very ambitious, but then things start to
Doesn't
go wrong.
have
She
the-
doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like
It's truth.
The Martells are just keep putting on one over on her, and
And the people that
She's
you
not
know-
smart enough to.
Yeah, the people you rely on to take out your enemies. Eventually, the pendulum swings, and they're going to take you out as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Tomek and Xamot, the Bank of Bravos.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
My question: are Tomek and Xamot actually the young Koch brothers?
I could see that.
They have a lot of money. They're evil.
They
I just asked the question.
They feel each other's pain in the bondage and S&M rooms. Yeah.
Guys, did we get to the butts yet?
This is the last sequence right here.
All right.
Bazooka, Alpine, and Quick Kick. We finally visit them again. They've been riding on the underside of a HISS tank since Antarctica, mind you.
And
Now they're in the
fine.
jungle.
They're fine.
Yeah, the Antarctic jungles.
What land bridge they took to get from Antarctica to the jungle. But now they're in the jungle and they get there and they decide, you know what, we're good here. Let's get out. At which point, I want to say Bazooka's supposed to be the dumb one. But Bazooka says, hey, well, why don't we fly out of here? And Alpine says, there's nothing we can fly around here. And Bazooka turns, and 5 feet away from them is a gigantic,
enormous,
jumbo-sized Cobra
plane.
jet.
Yeah, it's not like a little flitter. It's not,
This thing is a
gyrocopter.
DC-10.
We've established that these characters have really terrible. Their peripheral vision is horrendous.
They couldn't see the battle happening 30 feet
Right,
this way.
right.
Alpine can't see the giant jumbo
They're
jet.
partially deaf and they can't see anything to the right
They're
or left.
professional wrestling referees is what they are.
So they end up getting on the plane, which of course Quick Kick can fly.
Right.
Yeah, that goes without saying. He's a stuntman.
He's a stuntman, but normally he pilots these things into crashes.
He flies them into crashes.
Because that's how we film plane crashes. We hire a stuntman to fly them into whatever, into the ground.
How did he survive the first one? That's my question. Because apparently he does it all the time.
I mean, the man's half naked in the Arctic.
He's made of steel.
Yeah, he's bionic.
But of course, there happen to be 3 Cobra agents hiding on the ship.
Yep, like you
Gina, take it from here.
That was when my temperature started to rise. As one of the soldiers in the blue suits turned around, and I noticed that the cartoonist decided to give him an ample and juicy posterior.
He has the greatest ass known to man. And there's 3 of them. The main guy who's talking, fantastic ass.
It's great. You can see, and his pants are clearly tight because you can see the outline of the crack.
He knows
Hold
what
on.
he's working with, and he's
Hold
working
on.
it.
Because here's the thing: is earlier I didn't bring it up, but I did notice when Lady Jaye jumped out of the helicopter into the water, they took a real long time to just give a perfect shot of her snooch as it went all the way down in the water. It was they held that shot, and I was like, that's kind of weird.
I feel like there's just one cartoonist, one animator on the show whose job it is to like spice it up a little.
And for the record, you're all welcome.
I just want to point out that I noticed that. I did not notice the butts. Gina, it makes sense that you would notice the butts.
I noticed
Ray,
the
it
butts.
doesn't make sense why
I was
you would
hoping
notice
that
the
Gina
butts
would
so
notice the
much.
butts, because if I'm the only one who noticed them,
Chan,
I have
you
something
need to,
I got to admit to you guys.
You need to go back and look at that butt, Chan.
It's fantastic.
It made me want to work out.
The other weird shot that I noticed, and I actually wrote it down, and I don't know why, is that they said they got away, and then they cut to a shot of the landing gear going up into the plane. It
I
doesn't
did
make any
notice that.
sense.
I did
don't
notice
understand
that.
why they would take the time to show landing gear coming up into a plane.
That was when the network was like, we need 3 more seconds.
There's supposed to be all sorts of filler shots of everything, just gear.
I'm
like
disappointed.
somebody loading their laser gun with whatever.
Or there was
you
one guy that had just seen Top Gun and was like, we're going to show like the wing, a close-up of the wing, and then landing gear going up, and then whoa.
Why couldn't we have just gotten 3 more seconds of butts? I mean, they were
I
fantastic.
feel like
Yeah,
they probably cut it down from like
the standards and
a minute and a
practices.
half.
It was a 90 seconds.
The standards and practices people can only let you show cartoon butts for so many seconds in a TV show.
Just perfect curvature, guys. I'm just saying.
Everything else is just off-screen dialogue. Cobra Commander and Destro going at it, just holding on the butts, holding on these 3 Cobra butts.
I want to see the documentary that's about that guy who drew that butt, about how he thinks it was his greatest creation, and he'll never match up to it. He's like, there was one time in 1984 when I drew a butt so great, everyone noticed it.
That's the dude who drew the dicks in Little Mermaid.
So, of course, when Perfect Ass says, your name is going to be M-U-D when I'm through with you, the first thing you got to do is pick a fight.
So
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
that
glad
guy
he said what it spelled, though.
was clearly an underling of Cobra Commander.
right.
He's his protege.
He was trying to rise through the ranks. He was waiting for that one. He's got a whole note card filled with things, and he's like, "Oh, next time I see them, I'm going to say your name is M-U-D. Oh yeah, that's real good. Let me write that one down."
Stop this tomfoolery, you guys.
It's my turn to shine. But you're right, though. I didn't even think about that. He says, your name is M-U-D, and that spells mud. Like, we couldn't figure it out.
There's some
I appreciate
very
it.
To be fair, Bazooka was one of them.
I don't want to have to think when I'm watching a cartoon.
So the fight scene breaks out, and of course, Bazooka, the other Alpine's fine. He's beating up his guy. Quick Kick's fine. He's beating up his guy. But Perfect Ass is taking it to Bazooka.
Yeah.
Just absolutely just slamming him into the controls, at which point the G-forces kick in.
The G-forces. The G-forces that somehow managed to affect both sides of the plane equally. Because Quick Kick's on one side of the plane.
He's pinned.
Pinned up against the wall. And who else is he with him?
Alpine is pinned to the other side of the wall. Loses
Yeah.
its hat.
Yep.
His hat doesn't get pinned to the wall. It just flies away.
I'm not sure how G-forces work and if they were like in a straight down death spiral, if they would be pinned up against the back of the plane. But I absolutely
that's
guarantee
what I would think
they
they'd be
weren't
pinned.
pinned up against either side of the plane.
And Bazooka's pinned to the front of the plane.
Yeah.
With the direction they're headed in.
Maybe, I mean, in zero gravity, I think it would be possible to spin it, like to the centripetal force.
Centrifuge.
To create,
Yeah.
to create artificial gravity of some point. I
Yeah.
don't think they're doing that.
I think, guys, I might have to go on a limb here and say G-forces mean whatever you want them to mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm no scientist.
That's how I always look at everything in the world.
Gravity's just a theory, you guys.
Right.
And clearly, it has to be a theory because they've proven it's wrong here.
Yep.
And that's the end of the episode right there. We're left on a savage cliffhanger of will the plane crash murdering Perfect Ass and some Joes? Or will they overcome the G-forces?
Oh, Perfect Ass. We hardly knew ye. I've got a little game here, which was, did this episode pass the Bechdel test? It had exactly 3 ladies in it, assuming Robotopus is not a lady.
For the record, Robotopus, totally a lady.
No, Robopus is a lady. Robotopus not so
You know
much.
what? I stand corrected.
There was Satin, Lady Jaye, and the Baroness.
So that's one Joe, one Cobra, and one Independent.
Right. They never interact with one another at all.
Nope.
So that's immediate fail.
I feel like at some point Baroness and Lady J do meet up, but it's
Okay.
only to fight.
Right. They're
although,
not having an in-depth conversation.
I bet you they're probably not talking about boys. They're probably talking about, the
about
destruction
fighting
of the
each other.
world
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well, we'll have to see in a future episode if any of the episodes pass the Bechdel test.
I'm going to guess we get progressive at least once. I'll just put the over-under at 1.
Well, we've got 85 episodes to do.
got 85
There's
to
got to
churn
be
through.
one.
There's maybe going to be one.
Well, that's our show, everybody. I'd like to thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be, coming back soon enough with Part 5, the finale, the recap, the end game of Pyramid of Darkness.
Oh, God. Can't wait.
Until then,